Sunderland get it back though. Dan Neil shoots. Oh,
it's in.
That's a good ball through. This is Wilson. Is it over Sunderland? He's onside. Is it all?
Oh. Sits him down.
Enzo Le Fée, great first touch. Le Fée finds one in. Oh, it's an all goal!
Hello and welcome to Black Cats Chat, the international fans podcast for Sunderland AFC. My name is Lee Thirkell. I'm from the Bilbao Black Cats, and tonight I'm joined by my fellow Bilbao Black Cats member, Mark Beston, who's in Vitoria-Gasteiz. Mark, buenas noches.
Hello there.
Hello. We've also got Robin Bond. He's back. He's from the he's in the Czech Republic. He's from the Czech Republic Prague branch. Robin, how are you, mate?
I'm very good, thank you, and dobry večer.
Yeah, dobry večer. There we go. Right. How's the ankle doing? Because the last time you had a bit of an accident, didn't you?
Yeah, the ankle's coming on slowly. I'm still not bearing any weight on it. Probably another 4 or 5 weeks. Started physio last week, so things are improving, but not as fast as I'd like them to be.
Nah, not as fast as Remain Mundell off that treatment bench, yeah.
Exactly.
Right then, so we're going to get into last night's match. It was a very, very, very tense match, wasn't it? I mean, the build-up was quite big. Boro were just behind us. We're still fighting for the automatics. There was a lot on the game last night, wasn't there, Mark, before the match? Like it felt like a must-win game, didn't it, if we want to keep in touch with the top two?
Yeah, Middlesbrough's always been a difficult game. They're always there or thereabouts, and they get up for their derby, as they call it. So it's never easy. So yeah, it felt like a game to try and survive at the start, but at the same time, we needed to win.
Yeah, Robin, were you confident pre-match?
I predicted a win, but as time approached, I was getting more and more nervous. It's never a very nice place to go. I've been there a few times and watched the game live. It's a horrible place to go, and we, as I think the commentator said on the game last night, over 60-odd years since we've done the double over them, and we've certainly not won at the old Essen Park and the Riverside a lot in my lifetime.
Yeah.
So I wasn't that confident going into it, but and then the way we started, probably even less confident.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, the last time I was there was the last time we won the league, 2005, when Julio and Tommy Miller scored.
Yeah,
and
I was there.
You were there that day, but you were probably on the
was.
bus. You remember, like, getting out of the stadium, there was no security guards. We just had to sprint for the bus, and people, like Boro fans, tripping us up, throwing stones.
Yeah.
Windows on the bus bricked. Yeah. Anyway.
Always the same.
Always the same. Got out alive in the end, anyway. Right then. So, as you mentioned, then we got off to a slow start, didn't we, Mark? It's been a bit of a common theme, but we do manage to find ourselves, well, to get ourselves back in the match. Lebris talks about like solving the problems, and the players do seem to solve the problems, but it is a common theme, isn't it? Like these slow starts, but we do come back at the end. In the end, don't we?
Yeah, I think we're a bit of a target at the minute, being one of the top 4 teams, and again being their derby game. We just had to survive. The crowd was up for it. They've got all their fireworks and whatnot. They were looking very dangerous the first 15 minutes. So it was a question of surviving, and I think it was crucial not letting in a second goal.
Yeah. Robin, I mean, the goal came, I can't remember what minute it was, but it came from like a foul, or what looked like a foul on Paddy Roberts. I mean, if that's the other direction and it's Paddy Roberts on the defender, the referee blows that no issues, does he not? But it's like the 2-tier refereeing, isn't it? That if it's a defender on a striker, yeah, it's not a foul. But if it's the other way, it's a foul. So
yeah.
They got that goal then. Disappointing, wasn't it, to concede like that?
It was, and I think definitely a foul in my opinion. I think he had 2 goals at him, but then the ball through, we just looked static. Fair play to them. It was an excellent ball, and the guy took the goal very well, but we looked wide open.
Yeah.
And disappointing to go behind that early, and as Mark said, we hung on a bit. Thankfully, we didn't concede the second. Because I think if we had, that would have been certainly a tall order and a tough task to get back.
Yeah, and Mark, I mean, after that goal, I think we kind of settled down a little bit. Though we didn't exactly look like scoring, but then Dan Neil just took the game by the scruff of the neck, didn't he? And he just thought, sod this, got stuck in, picked up the ball, and he had that shot, and then there we go, we're back in at 1-1. I don't think maybe we deserved that, but it helped, didn't it? It was a turning point.
Yeah, they had to try and assert themselves in the game, and just any little touches. But all the touches are okay. But in the end, somebody's got to try and have a shot from the edge of the box, see what happens. And it was good to be a bit more direct suddenly. And I don't take anything away from the goal that it came off his back. You've got to shoot, and it was a good shot with good power, and that deflection took it in. But it was still a good shot, and it changed the balance of the game. Quieted that crowd. That they're easily quiet in that crowd. They start off lively, but they're a miserable bunch when things don't go that way, and it did change the crowd straight away.
Yeah, and I mean, goals do change games, don't they, Robin? I mean, that one totally changed the swing of the game, didn't it? Because after that, we kind of finished the half a little bit stronger, didn't we?
Yeah, definitely changed the balance of play. And I think, I've said, I don't know how many times that I think I've been talking to you twice on the podcast, and every time I talk about it seems to take a goal to get us started, and or to go down. A good, well, not I wouldn't say a good goal, but take anything at that point, and it certainly did change the balance of the game, and we were on top certainly up until half time, and I think we had a couple of opportunities maybe to go on and score, which we didn't take. And went in 1-1 at half time. At half time, I'd probably taken a draw, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, it was just after the goal mark, wasn't it? Where I think we had a chance. Was it Isidore had a missed kick and then Rig had a swing at it, and that could have been like the perfect ingredient to go in at half time 2-1, wouldn't it?
Yeah, they're on top at the end of the second half. In the first half, you maybe dropped off a bit, but in the first half there was maybe more threats from Roberts was playing well, and Job was coming in the game as well, so that they were starting to get on top. And you could tell they were vulnerable at the back. We didn't manage to get the second goal before the first half, but you could tell strong and physical going forward, but they were vulnerable at the back.
Yeah. And then, well, the second half, then we got that goal quite quickly. I mean, Le Fée was class all game, wasn't he, Robin? But that pass to Isidore was just magic, wasn't it?
No, unbelievable, and everything he did last night was, I don't think he had one bad touch. He looks a yard or two quicker than even some of our players. He seems to be thinking about what he's gonna. Most players are probably thinking about controlling the ball. I think he's thinking about what he's going to do. 2 or 3 touches after he's taken his first touch. But yeah, absolutely unbelievable. And interesting to hear the comment at the end from Le Fée saying that he thinks he's only 70% at the minute. So what a find he's been, and hats off to the Le Fée for having the wherewithal to go out and drag him in on loan. What a fantastic signing.
Well, and apart from that, I mean, he's out of position as well because he should be playing more centrally. I mean, it's kind of mouth-watering, isn't it, Mark, to think that as soon as Mundle comes back, to have Mundle and Roberts on the wings, Le Fée is the number 10, and then Isidore up front. That could be that could be the key to automatics, couldn't it?
Yeah, I think he's having to be, getting gradually used to the game, and he needs to be involved as much as possible, and he needs to be in the middle. Yeah. But, just like you said before, to have him in a position he's maybe not used to, already doing so much, already having his opponents on toast, all the little tricks, and then the nutmeg he did on Ailing was just brilliant.
Well, Robin, he's basically our Ahmad this season, isn't he? He's having the same
Right.
impact, but that's the kind of caliber, isn't it? That type of player that you don't get very often can make the difference, can they?
Yeah, I mean, Ailing must have gone to bed dizzy last night. Just the number of times that you thought he was tight on him, and then both he just turned and one touch and he was away. Joy to watch. I was saying to somebody, one of my mates talking to him today, and I don't think we've had a player with that level of skill since like Kieran Brady or somebody like that. Just natural ability, just seems to be phenomenal on the ball, and it's a pleasure to be watching somebody like that in the team.
Yeah, you mentioned there Luke Ayling. There was one replay that they showed where I think it was the nutmeg, and Alan just lifts his hands up and goes like, "What the hell just happened?"
Yeah.
Right, but Mark, that finish from Isidore, what I admired the most was the composure. Do you think he's learned from his penalty misses about like waiting for the keeper to make his move? Because obviously when he missed his penalties, he just went for power and he blasted it. Did look at the keeper, but on that finish, he kind of waited for the keeper, sat him down, rolled it in. Do you think that could be a possibility that he's been practicing that?
I think he's obviously with his celebration at the end of the game and all the interviews he's done, he's definitely a bit of a character. So I think he to be able to get him to be a bit more level-headed, which to do that in front of the keeper and not blast it as hard as you can in between the two posts and the crossbar, then yes, that's he seems to be a bit more level-headed and maybe got just dragged up in the moment in the penalties, and especially the second one didn't think it over, but it's what happens.
Yeah, because Robin, we've always spoken about Isidore. He's a perfect number 9, or he's like a perfect centre forward for us. But he always seemed to score spectacular goals, but never scored like the ugly goals or the simple goals or like the tap-ins. But I think last night that goal was like a very composed finish, which is something I don't think we've seen much of because he's always scored these wonder goals, hasn't he?
Yeah, probably the goal against Hull that he took on. That was kind of cool the way he finished that off, the little
Yeah.
clip over the keeper. But fair play to him the way he's bounced back from the two penalty misses. It could have gone the other way. I was absolutely over the moon from last night to score it the way he did, just so composed, and just to watch the keeper. You could see him waiting and waiting and waiting to see what the keeper was going to do. And normally the keepers don't do anything, and he made the keeper take the dive. And no, what a cool finish!
Well, I don't know if you've seen on social media today that someone had put like a split screen of 2 videos of the keeper, Travers, who was on loan from Bournemouth. Apparently, like was it a couple of weeks ago, he was playing against Cole Palmer, and Cole Palmer did the exact same thing. He was one on
Right?
one on goal, and he basically waited and waited, sat him down. So maybe Isidore might have watched that and seen, oh, he guns down. So, but
Yeah.
yeah, it was a great start of the second half. Mark, I'm going to put you on the spot. Is Isidore better than Ross Stewart?
Oh, oh, no comparison, I'm afraid. I thought Ross Stewart was a good player. Isidore technically is on a different planet. I mean, my opinion, he's in a different planet. I think he offers ferocity and speed in these one-on-ones, and the technical goals he's done is, in my opinion, a different level. And so there, yeah, I would say he's on a different level, I'm afraid.
Right, Robin, what do you think?
No, I completely agree. I think he's a completely different player. The speed that he offers, his movement, um, just the way he's up for it. I think just emotionally the way he plays the game as well.
Yeah,
His reaction at the end of the game, he's completely bought into everything, and great to see that we've got him signed permanently.
yeah.
Um,
One thing I'd like to see maybe is like get him a few more headers because he always seems to score with his feet. And he's quite a tall guy, so maybe I think the Ross Stewart comparison comes with that. Ross Stewart scored with both his head and his feet. But another thing, Mark, is that the fascinating thing was on commentary. They said that Isidore didn't touch the ball for about 25 minutes. I think 30 minutes in the first half. He was out of the game, wasn't he? But the thing is that he's out of the game, but he's still able to stay switched on, even though he's not getting any service.
Yeah, he's playing in a lone forward role, so he's alert, but it's a difficult role, and not many things come to him very often, which is why he needs to make the most of it. But maybe that's because this year we've got different threats. You've got threats from just behind. I agree, his heading ability might be almost nothing, to be honest. But you've got people coming in behind. Job's good at heading, although he missed one yesterday, and yeah, Ross Stewart was a better header, and he might develop that heading ability, or he might not.
Yeah. Well, I think he's got 10 goals now, has he, Robin? He's on 10 for
yeah,
the
10 I
season.
think, 10 I think for the season now, which is a great return.
Yeah. And I think we can put to bed the doubt that is he a left winger, is he a forward? I mean, he's definitely a forward, isn't he?
All right, definitely a
Mm.
centre forward, and
Yeah.
long may he continue to play there. And it'll be interesting. Again, lots of debates after the game last night around, should we be playing Le Fée through the middle? I think most people think that we should. How the hell would you set the team up with a minute? Who would drop out to accommodate him going in there? It's a great debate to be having.
I think the easy answer for that for me is Rig, because I think Rig's I think he's just struggling at the minute. I think he's like he had that he set the bar so high at the start of the season with his performances. And I don't know if it's just like, I don't know if it's tiredness. It could be because he's only 17. I don't know if it's trying too hard, but he's not having the same impact on games as he was at the start of the season. And I just think he might be better used more sparingly from the bench for the last 20, 25 minutes. Play Le Fée number 10, and then Mundle if he's back. I don't know what you think about that, Robin.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, I thought Roberts had a good game last night. I don't think Roberts has been brilliant. I think he's been in and out of games. I think his form hasn't been as consistent as it was. So up until last night, maybe I'd a plumb for taking Roberts out and putting maybe Rig a bit wider on the right. But it's great that we can talk about changing the team around like that, because it's not something that we've been able to be done for a long time.
Yeah. Mark, then, so we've mentioned two players there who have both got written down here to talk about, Rig and Roberts. We'll start with Rig. We saw it last season with Job that he got flogged, and he ended up playing match after match after match, and you could see that he was struggling, wasn't he? He was stretching. We saw it the season in League One with Dan Neil, and Alex Neil took him out. We saw it with Callum Doyle. Does Rig need a little spell out of the starting 11 just to give him that
Yeah,
breather, because he is a young lad, isn't he? I mean, he's only 17. The expectation, I mean, he's got a lot of energy for the celebrations, but I mean, is he having the same impact on the pitch as he was at the start of the season?
yeah, I'd probably agree with that. I mean, what I try and remind myself the whole time is there's 16 games left. 16 games is a lot, and there's going to be periods in Easter where it's very busy. So I think out of those 16 games, he shouldn't. I don't think we should be aiming to start him. Even three quarters. Even 12, 11. I think he should be still involved. But as you say, just give him a little bit of a break so he can come in fresh and impact more. And you need to get these 17-year-olds, 18-year-olds, get him a little chip in his shoulder sometimes. Why you put me on the bench? Well, come off the bench and prove to you why I need to be back in the team. And as the squad's reasonably big this year, and maybe the injuries come back, then I think that's a good thing.
Yeah, Robin, I mean, on the point of Rig, I think we also need options from the bench, because last night, I mean, in terms of attacking, there was only really Mayenda, wasn't there? So, I mean, would you say that we do need like players like Rig, Mayenda on the bench, because they're young, they've got lots of energy, and they could be crucial for that last 20 minutes?
No, I agree. The bench maybe didn't look as strong last night, but it'd be interesting to see what happens with Watson, given what's gone on in the last couple of days. You mentioned Mundle coming back as well, so hopefully the bench is going to get a bit stronger and give us a lot more options to do stuff later on in the game. And like we said, Griggs, he's only 17-year-old. He's played a lot of games. Job, some people, I saw some comment last night from somebody who said that they thought Job had a poor game, but I thought he had a great game again last night. And what is he? He's not even, is he
19,
19?
I think. Yeah.
19. He's played 100 games already. So yeah, I think it would be good to get some more strength on the bench, and that's one of the things that we've been critical of. I think if we have been critical of Le Fée, that he hasn't done a lot, and hasn't used substitutes impactfully enough, if that's a word.
Hmm. Yeah, and then Mark, on to Paddy Roberts then. He could have like let his head go down, because you saw his reaction right, when he got fouled, and like there was the camera angle which was basically focused on him while they went up and scored. That could have like gone the other way, couldn't it? He could have dropped his head. and been out the rest of the game. But he picked himself up, and then I thought from then on he was brilliant, wasn't he? He was running. He was our main threat, I think, in the first half. He was running at defenders, and I think what I like about him over Mayenda is that he'll always make the right pass, and he'll rarely lose possession. I think his ball retention is very good, whereas Mayenda's a bit more raw, and I think he has a tendency to make the wrong choice, which is like it's quite normal, I think, given his age. So I don't know what you thought about Roberts' performance last night.
Yeah, I'd agree with that until, especially in the first half when we're suffering a bit, he gives a good outlet. And even though he's attacking and dribbling, like you say, he holds onto the ball well and brings the other players up. And he maybe dropped off a little bit before he went off, but he was one of our better players at the start. He played well. Because I've been a bit frustrated with him this year, but again, you can see his mature head sometimes. You offer a mature head on one side, and you've got to have that difficult balance of age and experience, and he offers a nice balance.
Yeah, absolutely. Robin, so they scored the equaliser. I mean, we basically gifted them the goal, didn't we? I mean, I've seen comments today saying '09 played a good pass and Job should have been more alert. He should have used his body more. I think there's like arguments for both, isn't it? Like basically, it was a poor pass from '09. I think he should have like seen that there was very little space. It was compact, and Job, he's normally very good at that sort of thing, isn't he? Holding off a player and like putting his body in the way. But it was a very, very soft goal to give away, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. I mean, a couple of times I think in the first half we, playing the ball out at the back, there was some very balls played in some very tight positions, and we passed our way around it. I thought it was a poor ball from 1-9. I think the lad was already, well up on Job and nicked it off him, and again another good goal for them. I think that the lad took it well. And from we've talked about how goals turn games. That Borough after that, I think they hadn't shown a lot of confidence after we'd gone 2-1 up. Even going back to 1-1, they didn't look like they were going to create much. And then that goal lifted them. But I think a poor ball from 1-9, and yeah, we paid the price for it.
Yeah, I mean, Mark, they scored that goal and it did get the crowd, and then we did have like a shaky 5 or 10 minutes or so. But then the game kind of like, I don't know, like petered out a little bit, didn't it? It went a bit dull. We took off Rig and we brought Samed on. I mean, at that point, I'm thinking like Labrise is settling for a draw here.
I think I'm right in saying that there was after the Hackney goal, there was the good block by Mepham, wasn't it? Just after that,
Yeah,
is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, again, that block was again really key block, good block, and yeah, it was a bit weird after that. They didn't really do anything. And I thought their substitute that came on, their new signing, looked lively, and he was worrying me. But again, I personally think the Samed substitution was the right substitution at the time because he runs around a lot. I've seen positive things of him, and I think he'll be a useful block, even though he might not contribute sometimes. It sort of changes the shape of the team, and he's a physical presence. And sometimes you have to have that sort of ugly player that might do a few off passes or sideways crab passes. But I think he helped a little bit because he protected the people in front of that. So
Yeah, well, Robin, I mean, I think last night that change did make sense because Rig wasn't having the best of games, and with the score 2-2, I think it did make sense to bring Samed on. However, if we go back to the Plymouth game, it didn't make any sense to play him from the start in that game against the bottom team of the league, did it not really?
No, I don't. I think it was the wrong game maybe to make that change and try it. I don't think it worked. I think we've analysed that to death. And then substitutions, I think in the Plymouth game were poor ones. But I think last night he came on and he certainly did break a lot of the play up and did a good job in front of the back four.
He gets around the pitch, doesn't he? I think he's got a good engine.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, and I mean we've got some games coming up, haven't we? We've got Leeds away. I think we've got Coventry away, West Brom away. I mean, I think these are games where he might actually get some game time from the start. What do you reckon, Mark?
yeah, I mean watching the highlights of the weekend, I think definitely Leeds away because I can't see them getting stopped. And if we manage to get anything at Ellen Road away in the form they are, so yeah, get the ugly lad in the Leeds game away. Maybe those other two games you mentioned, maybe not. Coventry have picked up a bit. West Brom, could fancy yourselves more against those two, but yeah, in the Leeds game probably.
Well, you say Coventry have picked up. I mean, they've won four out of four last league games, and 5 out of 5 if you include the FA Cup. So big Frankie
Yeah,
Lampard's doing a good job there, isn't he?
he is.
And
Yeah,
like also they're playing Leeds tomorrow night at home, so you never know. They could do us a favour.
yeah,
Burnley,
yeah.
Burnley are currently playing Oxford. It's 0-0. So
I'm doing
hopefully,
the same on the background. Yeah.
yeah. So hopefully we'll get like another Burnley 0-0 draw. I'll do nicely. Um,
Yeah.
right then, Robin, on to that winner then. I mean, to be honest, I'd settled for a draw by that point. I don't think neither team looked like they were going to win. But that moment of class from Le Fée, that touch was just marvelous, wasn't it?
Oh, it's unbelievable, the ball going over the top of him, and it's like I said earlier, he was already thinking about what he was going to do with his second or third touch, and just took the ball away and kept his composure, put a great cross in. I thought the chance had gone, initially. It
Yeah,
flew past. I think it was Job was flying in and missed it, and then next thing you know, the back of the net's rustling.
yeah.
So,
No, I think it was a bit of a weird goal, wasn't it? Because it seemed to take a longer time than usual to get to the defender Giles. But well, we're not having any complaints, have we not, Mark? I mean, we'll take any goal, but that touch, I mean, you just like you're just loving that, aren't you?
Oh, it was just you can hear me on a video I did for my dad after the replay. Just even on the second time, just going, "Oh my word!" Like us, I'm sure there's skillful players in the Czech Republic, but all these Mediterranean fancy types in Spain and Italy. I mean, it was brilliant. The touch, brilliant.
Uh,
yeah,
and that's why he's valued at what 25 million euros,
Yeah,
isn't it? I mean, that's
yeah,
the kind of caliber you get. Um, right then, so we could have made it four, Robin. We had a breakaway. Sam had broke away on the left hand side. I thought he could have played it first time with his left foot, but he decided to cut inside. He pulled it back, and we had Paveda and we had Mayenda, who
yeah.
like got put through. And basically, I was just asking myself, why didn't Mayenda just like take the initiative and just say, okay, I'm going to get this. But he just left it for Paveda. And listen, I think Paveda could be a good player, but he's not match fit. He's lacking confidence. And I don't think he was ever going to score that, was he not?
No, I didn't. I mean, he's got the ball trapped under his feet. Maybe I don't know whether I can't remember whether Mayenda stepped over it but he did seem to let it go through. Maybe that kind of threw Paveda a little bit. He was expecting Mayenda to take it on. Um, and yeah, you thought, God, just don't let this come back and bite us.
Yeah. I mean, Mark, would you have liked to seen Mayenda there take a bit of balls and like just like say, okay, listen, I'm getting confident. I'm starting games. I've got over my little dip. I should take this and finish the game.
yeah. He sort of switched off briefly, and Poveda did nothing really. So yeah, yeah, he got in the way to be honest. So yeah,
Yeah. Well, in the end, then we got the win. We got the 3 points. That means we're still in fourth place. We're joint third with Burnley, and it's still 0-0. 58 points. Sheffield United on 61 and Leeds on 63. Uh, our goal difference, Robin, is 19. Sheffield United's is 20. And then you got Burnley got 27, but that's because they've only conceded 9 goals all season. But then Leeds are well away with like 41 goal difference. So I think their goal difference is just like ridiculous, isn't it? But I mean, we're only 3 points from second. Sheffield United have got Portsmouth on Saturday. We've got Watford. I mean, we just got to keep on picking up these points, haven't we? To keep on putting the pressure because it's going to go to the wire, isn't it?
Yeah, I think just take the next game as it comes, and we're at home. You know, we should, on paper, a very winnable game. I don't think our home form has been particularly good. We seem to be playing better away from home than we are at home. But again, we just got to go out and make sure we get the 3 points on Saturday and look at every game just not think about other teams around us. Just go out and play our own game, and keep getting points on the board.
Yeah,
There'll be,
well,
there'll certainly be some slip ups from the others above. Hopefully, we've had our slip ups in the last couple of weeks, and push on. Just keep pushing on.
yeah. Well, I mean, Mark, we've got Watford on Saturday. I mean, Watford have only won one in the last 5. I mean, they've lost their last 3. I'm looking at here. So is that a bit of a banana skin come Saturday?
I don't want to say anything out loud, to be honest. I think they should aim to win it. They should obviously get goals in the back of the net to sort of avoid the last minute nerves. But at the minute, you can't totally trust them. But to have such a big win at a local rival in the last minutes, to be celebrating with your fans, having a shirt on the corner flag, surely that will get it pumping up on Saturday and get some early goals in. And hopefully we won't be even thinking about the last minute. But who
Yeah,
knows?
I think
I've said that before this season. Who knows?
Yeah, that's the key. I think is getting a good start. Come out, get out the
Mm.
blocks, and get an early goal in, and then push on for a second. Not score and then sit back and invite teams on. It's there for the taking.
absolutely. I mean, Watford, yeah, as we said, they dropped off because they were in the playoff hunt recently. Robin, the post-match celebrations, I mean, from our point of view, they were class. From a
Yeah.
neutral point of view, do you think it might be seen as a bit of overreaction, a bit of cockiness, or not?
I don't know. I mean, it's. I think a lot of Isidore's emotions came out after the disappointment of the penalty misses a few weeks ago.
And then obviously signing permanently for 3.3 million.
Yeah, exactly. And I don't think there was anything wrong with it. And what I am liking is the connection between the seems to be between the players and the fans. There's and these guys who've come in, the new guys. Isidore's certainly he's taken to the fans. I think he's got what it's all about. He sees the importance to the what it means to the people who go and watch them week in, week out. I think Le Fée, in his interview last night, I think he's already got the bug. He knows what it's about. No, it was absolutely fantastic to see them celebrating the way that they did.
Yeah, absolutely. And we're talking about
Sorry.
Yeah, go on, Mark.
Sorry, I'm not sure whether you noticed, but I've got a sneaky feeling when Wilson Isidore did that celebration, which I was watching live, I think at one point after he'd been doing it I think Trey Hume went up to him and had a little quiet word with him and said, you've done your show away. I think that Trey Hume did that, which again shows start a good leadership skills for Trey Hume as well. Likes a good tackle, and he let him do that for a while. And I'm pretty sure I saw Trey Hume say to him on camera, you've done it now, perfect.
You've
Away.
seen off.
Tone
Yeah.
it down. Well, it's funny you mentioned that because I don't know if you heard Regis Lebris's interview after the match on Sky Sports, Robin,
Mm.
when they asked him like about his celebrations. You could see like the smile or the smirk went up his face. He was like saying,
Yeah.
"Yeah, he's had his celebration, but we've got a job to do."
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I think it's important that we don't let's not get carried away with this win because I think we picked up 3 points, but I don't think we're still not playing spectacularly well, are we not?
No, I don't think we are. We're not playing, fantastically well. And I woke up this morning. It's nice to wake up with a win. Probably took me about an hour and a half to get off to sleep last night. I was kind of buzzing after the game, and that doesn't happen very often. So take it while we can.
Yeah, and well, I mean, Regis Lebris, Mark. What I like about him, I mean, I've got like things I like about him and things I dislike. I mean, we've touched on that like before, the subs and everything. But what I like about him is that he's really calm, and I think that could be key for the remaining games. Because if I look at like people like I know Daniel Farke, he's a bit up and down, isn't he? He gets a bit annoyed when things don't go his way. He always blames other things. I think like Chris Wilder, he's a bit the same. He gets a bit upset. He makes excuses. But Lebris always stays very calm, doesn't he? He never gets too high, never gets too low. Do you think that could be key?
Yeah, I agree with all you've said because I watched the highlights on Saturday, and Sheffield United and Burnley weren't playing very good teams on Saturday. He's a pressure cooker Chris Wilder. Yeah, it might take one thing for him to explode. And Parker Burnley, I think, is the opposite. He's just so passive, and at one point, if they don't learn to score goals, it's passive. So I do like the way the Brees is handling things, and hopefully it'll continue that way. And they say in things like other sports, like in the Tour de France, we're in the slipstream just behind them, and if we keep on in that slipstream, keep it at 3 points, 2 points, just keep there, and we'll see what we can do.
Yeah. Robin, I don't know if you saw like the Access All Areas video on YouTube from the club after the match, but like they were showing like Lebris's reaction when we scored and at full time. Little by little, he is showing a bit more emotion, isn't he,
Yeah,
on the touchline?
Yeah, he is. He's starting to get into it a little bit more, and yeah, it's good to see him showing some of that emotion as well. No, it was nice to see.
Yeah. Well, the stats then. I mean, people might say. I mean, I heard Stewie Downing on Sky Sport. It was ITV4 actually. He was saying that maybe a draw would have been a fair result. But I mean, if we look at the stats, Borough had 4 shots on target. We had 9 shots on target. They had 53% possession and 47% for us. Their keeper had to make 7 saves, and Patterson had to make 2. So I think in the end, that little bit of class that we had through Le Fée, Robin, was the difference, wasn't it?
Yeah, definitely. I think you'd expect them to have a little bit more possession at home, but I think we handled that well, and yeah, some good opportunities created last night again. Like us to be a little bit more clinical at times. I think Isidore was unlucky with that shot. I don't know how he got the shot away. He seemed to be running away from goal and put the ball back at almost like a 45-degree angle, and keeper pulled a great save off. So he was unlucky there. But no, I think on the balance of play, I think we probably just shaded it.
Yeah. And right then, so away from the match then, we've had a lot of things happening off the pitch as well. I mean, Mike Dodds was confirmed that he was leaving. He's taking the Wickham job. You spoke to Mike Dodds quite a bit, didn't you, at International Fans Day last year? I think he's going to be a pretty big loss, isn't he, for the first team?
Yeah, we've met him on the International Fans Day. Very, very nice guy. Easily open to talk and discuss things, and I think Wycombe Wanderers is a good sized club for him. Ambitious club, not too big, pretty steady club. So yeah, good luck to him.
Yeah, I don't know if you saw Robin last night. Apparently, after the match, he drove straight down there, and he was at training for Wickham this morning.
Yeah, I saw photographs of him there, and it was actually again in the interview. I don't know if you saw Isidore's interview, but
Yeah.
wished him all the best, which I thought was good. I mean, Isidore hasn't been there that long, for him to pass on the well wishes he did. I thought was first class of him.
Yeah, and I mean, he still is a young guy. I mean, he's only 37-year-old, so he's been with us since he was like what, 33, 34. But Robin, under that, I mean, he was. First of all, he came in as an academy coach, I think. He was like under 21 coach at first, wasn't he? And
Yeah.
then he got moved up to the first team when I think it was like Lee Johnson got sacked. Then after that, he stayed in the first team with Alex Neil. Then Alex Neil got sacked. He got like the job with Procky, didn't he? And then after Mowbray got sacked, I think he thought he had a chance, didn't he, of getting the job after those like good results. I think we had a good result against West Brom. We had a good result against Leeds that time. And I think we drew against Bristol City. And I think he thought he might have been able to get the job, but Beale got it. And he went back to kind of assistant, didn't he?
Yeah.
Then when Lebris came in, he got moved to assistant coach rather than first team coach. Then we brought in this new guy, the Portuguese fella, Pedro Ribeiro. And then all of a sudden we've got 2 assistant coaches, head coaches. Did that seem a bit odd at the time?
Yeah, it was kind of a little bit strange, and I think in it was interesting when they were appointing Liberty that they wanted to keep. I think it was stated that the back room and the guys at the top wanted to keep Dodds in and around the scene and Proctor, which was I guess showed that the guys think something about them. But probably in that kind of number 2 in the number 2 role rather than taking on the team full time. And maybe Dodds had expressed an interest to move on if something became available, and that's why they went out and got this other guy in.
Yeah, is that what you think, Mark? Is like basically get the other guy in to give him time to learn the ropes, and then when an opportunity comes up, Dodds leaves.
Yeah, I think he had, he was well valued by the club as a coach, but also as a person. So, it's if he's part of the furniture, then you don't shove him out and just let him be involved in some way. And yeah, the first opportunity that you got, then do the same back to him and say you're free to go. I don't know whether they're thinking of a new member to come in. But, I think if a new member came in, I would personally think it'd be better to get someone in again, maybe young, but with knowledge of, British leagues, English leagues, and just, it's good to get that balance. Maybe Mike Dodds offered that balance before Regis Lebreith chose some more of his team.
Yeah, Robin, do you not think maybe if you get too many coaches in, I don't know, it could be like too many cooks spoil the broth kind of thing, or not?
No, definitely. I think you got 3 or 4 people chipping in with decisions. Maybe you're right. Too many coaches spoil the broth. I don't know.
Yeah. Right then, we'll go to the transfer window because, I mean, to be honest, I didn't think that we were going to bring too many players in. I thought the idea was maybe to trim the squad because I thought we did have a big squad. I don't think Tommy Watson was a move that they were expecting. No, I don't think that kind of Brighton interest last minute was on the radar. So I think that caught them by surprise, didn't he, Mark?
The Tommy Watson thing is, I think it was in rumours or was true. They were sort of looking at him in the summer before, and I think it again shows a change in the philosophy of the club. So he is known as being one of the best upcoming players, but we're not going to sell them cheap anymore. If you want them, you have to pay top dollar and proper top dollar. I mean, they were offering, according to rumours, over £10 million, and then there was rumours of a Brighton player coming the opposite way that was being raved about, not that long ago. So it's like either you play our game or you're not leaving. That's excellent, I think.
Yeah, I mean, Robin, apparently, like Watson travelled down there to have like a fee had been agreed, but everything depended on us getting a replacement. In the end, we didn't get that replacement, so the deal was like cancelled, didn't go through. What does that mean for Tommy Watson now?
Yeah, very good question. It depends on his desire. Does he want to be around the club? Interesting that he wanted to go and have a look elsewhere. What's his motive behind that? Is it the lure of Premier League football, which potentially he could get next year? Is it something else going on behind the scenes in terms of personal terms with the club? It'll be interesting to see, how much he does feature in the rest of the season.
Yeah, well, I mean, Mark, I think what the club have learned is that they're not going to take risks with players running down the contract, are they not? I mean, we saw that with Ross Stewart, and I think like Watson has got 18 months left in his contract, and I think the club have said, listen, if you're not going to sign the contract, then we're going to cash in on you. Do you think that's the right approach?
Yeah, I think that's the right approach because I think if we were talking about next summer transfer window, I think they would have sold him to avoid that risk. But because you've got 18 months left, there's maybe a bit more time to try and convince him or get in the Premier League and he wanting to stay. So at the minute, you've got nothing to lose as far as I understand.
Yeah, I mean, Robin, if I compare him to like Chrissy Rigg, I mean, Chrissy Rigg had the option to leave. He apparently had like a couple of offers on the table, even those up the road. He decided to sign a new contract and he's reaping the benefits, isn't he?
Oh, he is. You've got to look no further than Jack Clark. The who moved on and things haven't really worked out. Sadly, haven't worked out for him. Would the same happen to Watson? You just never know. Sometimes bet the devil you do know. Being a big fish in a small pond rather than a small fish in a bigger pool of players.
Yeah. Right then. So we did get one player in then, apart from the permanent Isidore signing, which was Jayden Danns. Everyone was excited, But Mark, it's apparent that this morning he's out injured. He's got a stress fracture in his back that's been detected in the medical. He's gonna stay in Liverpool for his rehab, and he'll come and join us in the future when he's ready, which is no idea. Stress
Yeah.
fracture on the back. I mean, I've been reading up today. Could be anything up to 2 months. So, what do you think about that signing?
It's just typical, but I don't know. Like at the same time, you know, imagine he'd failed the medical. I wouldn't have liked a panic signing to come in instead. But yeah, surely some more preparation or medical investigation should have been done before you're under pressure on hours before the transfer window, and you've got no other choice. So are you left with, from what I've heard, a very talented footballer that you're gonna have to wait 2 months, or do you go and panic? Obviously, the Will Griggs type situation. So let's see what happens. It's one of our, even though it's dependent on one player, nobody wants an injury to Wilson Isidore. If Wilson Isidore stays fit, then he's going to be the starter. We just got to cross our fingers and hope he's as good as they say. It's a difficult one.
Yeah, I mean, apparently he's highly rated, Robin. I mean, I've seen him a couple of times, not too many times, but he seems highly rated. Uh, where do you think you see him fitting in?
Well, again, it's very much dependent on people staying fit. I think if the team that started last night stay fit, then he's probably coming off the bench. We've already talked about Le Fée maybe playing down the middle. Mundle coming back. Watson, does he play? There's a lot of questions to be answered, but I think he's probably a player that's going to come off the bench and hopefully be impactful coming off the bench.
Yeah, I mean, this morning, it was last night actually, when I saw messages on social media saying that he'd had problems with a stress fracture, and the first thing that came to my mind was when we tried to sign Ronan Haratzi under Peter Reid with the Premier Passions documentary. I remember that he failed a medical. I think he had a damaged leg or something like that.
Yeah, that and Reid actually wanted him to sign and put a lot of pressure on the physio at the time
To write it off.
to write it off. Yeah, and the physio refused.
Yeah, just as well. I mean, come on, he signed Tyson Nunes as well, didn't he? Right, Mark. Do you think we're short in any positions?
Uh, I think we're okay. I'm a little bit nervous about centre half personally. I think Mepham's brilliant. I've always liked Ballard. Luca Nine makes me, even though for his character and his soul and all that, he makes me very happy. And 85% of the time he's okay. He plays well as a centre half. He makes me a bit nervous as a centre half sometimes. He almost pulled back the Middlesbrough player and could have given away a red card. So the only position I'd be a bit nervous about is centre half, to be honest.
Well, I mean, we've got Big Dan Ballard on the bench, Robin.
Yeah.
Hjelder's on there as well. Jensen sealed. He's coming back, but I don't think I'd be risking
Mm,
him this season, to be honest.
mm,
Yeah, I think I'd echo what Mark said. I've got a little bit of a doubt in my mind starting to creep in about '09, and I love him for his character. I love the way he's taken to the club. But he's got that tendency. He's got away with a few, and thank God we haven't got VAR in the championship this season, because there's a lot of times where he's pushing and pulling in the box that they've gone unseen by the referee that VAR probably would have picked up. He's 110% in terms of commitment. I'm just doubting his kind of ability. Would Ballard be a better option? Ballard came in, and I can't remember which game it was, made a couple of mistakes in one game, and you could argue whether he would be a better choice. But I'm a little bit nervous about that position as well. I think Mepham's a fantastic player, but Luke, I think, it's starting to show signs of weakness for me.
Yeah, Mark, is that a position you think could change in the next few weeks, months, towards the end of the season, that 09 gradually drops out and Ballard comes in?
Yeah, I think probably it is a difficult one because, as Robin said, there's been a few Ballard bad moments as well, but we'll see.
Yeah. And right then, we had a couple of departures then. Abdullah Bar, Robin, he's gone to Dunkirk in France, second division. I mean, there's no surprises. He's just been completely bombed out, hasn't he? I'd say it's probably more to do with his attitude rather than ability because I think he has got something about him. But yeah, there's no surprises with that one, is there?
No, I don't think so. I think not consistent enough when he's been given the opportunities. I think probably the same could be said of Oshish as well, who I thought was starting to show signs of promise. I was a little bit surprised that we let him actually go out. But I think it's just these players are getting snippets of opportunity, not really snatching them. So. And I think we've got better talent in and around the club and fitter now. So probably the right decisions.
Yeah, Mark, I don't think Bar will probably playing red and white again, would you say?
No, not if we're on our current trajectory, then he won't be. Yeah, I think personally, I've had my doubts about Al Shish. I think if Le Fée hadn't come in and us having the intentions of him going more in the middle, he might have stayed, but there's just no room, I think.
Yeah. Yeah. And the other one that was almost done was Jewison Bennett, who just seemed to have dropped off the face of the earth, hasn't he? Um, he's moved to Charlton, fell through. It didn't get done in time. I mean, I'm pretty gutted for Dewey, Robin, because like I met him in pre-season in Spain, taught him in Spanish. Like, lovely lad, really wants to do well at Sunderland. I think he's just a bit naive. He's a bit too eager. But I mean, what next for Dewey?
Yeah, again, that's where again showed a lot of promise. Looked like it was going to be a bright star. Let's see.
Yeah, because he hasn't been playing reserve team football. I think he's been bombed out. He got played left back, so I think it's a bit of a pity for him actually. I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe he met Charlie Methven in Charlton. He said, "I don't fancy this." Uh, right then, we'll sign off there. Burnley are winning 1-0 against Oxford, so that's not a good sign. Almost half time. This Saturday then we've got Watford. It's an early kickoff. It's 12:30 UK time. Mark, what are your predictions? Do you think you'll go with the same team?
Yeah, I think I'll probably go with an unchanged team. See how Wilson Isidore's fitness is, but I think he'll go with the same team pretty much. Yeah.
Yeah, Robin, what do you think?
Yeah, I think stick with the same team and get out the blocks early and 2 or 3-0 win.
2 or 3. Now I'm going to go for 2-0. You're going to go for 2 or 3. Mark, what's your prediction, mate?
Yeah, honestly, I was going to say 2-0, something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, fingers crossed. Right then, lads, thank you for your time this evening. Enjoy the rest of your night. Enjoy the rest of your week. And how are the lads?
Thank you.
Cheers, thanks a lot. Away,
Cheers,
lads.
bye.
Nothing is too much for this club. Nothing is too much for those fans. So that's why my reaction was like that. I just enjoy to play here. So that's amazing.